Coming up, Jeff Bezos is now part of Team Trump. Morning Joe is forced to apologise to Fox News as attacks on Pete Hegseth go full Brett Kavanaugh. The EPA is literally throwing your money out of the door before Trump is inaugurated. Jeff Bezos has gone from being a Trump critic to praising him. Watch.
Well, I don't know. I mean, that's a different question. But you know, if we're talking about Trump, I think it's very interesting. I'm actually very optimistic this time around that we're going to see. I'm very hopeful about this. He seems to have a lot of energy around reducing regulation. And my point of view, if I can help him do that, I'm going to help him. Because we do have too much regulation in this country. This country is so set up to grow. By the way, all of our problems, all of our economic problems, like if you look at the deficit and, I mean, you know, the debt, the national debt and how gigantic it is as a portion of GDP, these are real problems and they're real long-term problems. And the way you get out of them is by outgrowing them. You're going to solve the problem of the national debt by making it a smaller percentage of GDP, not by shrinking the national debt, but by growing the GDP. You have to grow the denominator. And that means you have to grow GDP at, 3, 4, 5% a year, and, let the national debt grow slower than that. If you can do that, this is a very manageable problem. So we need...
As you can see, Jeff Bezos has actually gone from Trump critic to actually wanting to be part of Trump's solution. He now states that he is very enthusiastic about the Trump team, the enthusiasm and the desire to get the economy under control displayed by that team. As he states, regulations have been killing the country, and it's essential to build business and promote business activity in order to grow the economy, which has the added benefit of shrinking the debt as a percentage of GDP. He also weighed in on the media.
We just decided that, it wasn't going to help first of all, it wasn't going to influence the election either way. We didn't believe, there's no evidence that newspaper endorsements influence elections. No independent voter in Pennsylvania at that time was going to say, oh, is that what the Washington Post thinks? Well, then I'll do that. So that wasn't going to happen. And at the same time, we're struggling.
Bezos recognizes the problem with newspapers or traditional media more generally endorsing candidates. He makes the point that it does not change votes and merely puts the media outlet into a box where you're causing people that do not like the candidate you endorsed actually not partaking of your product to the detriment of your publication. He says he fully expected the backlash that he received. If you like this content, please like, share and subscribe. Meanwhile, you have disgraceful behaviour by people inside the EPA making decisions to try to damage Trump's future decisions in this regard.
Now we're just having to get the money out as fast as possible before they come in and stop it. It truly feels like we're on the Titanic and we're throwing gold bars off the hatch.
Who are the gold bars going to?
Nonprofits, states, tribes. We gave them the money because it was harder. If it was a government-run program, they could take the money away.
No.
If Trump won, and because it was a insurance policy against Trump winning.
So you have Brent Efron, Special Advisor for Implementation at the EPA, stating that he is happy to funnel money out as fast as possible so that Trump can't stop what has already been done. He sees this as an insurance policy against Trump. If you're not outraged, you should be. This is your money. And it gets worse.
The money that we've given out like tens of billions of dollars, like over the last year. Over the last year, we've given up probably like $50 billion.
$50 million?
Billion with a B.
$50 billion.
Yes, for climate things. So like to go work for one of these places, I think would be really cool.
Just look at the scale of it. $50 billion and no conscience about the fact that it is other people's hard-earned money. Just throw those gold bars overboard. Even worse, he's talking about the largesse being thrown to these companies, many probably undeserving, in part as an effort to get himself another job. Yes, it probably will be really cool to work for a place where you've fleeced the taxpayer to give you your entrance. And it doesn't stop there.
I do like how do you spend $100 billion? How do you make sure that like they're the proper, well, until recently, how do you make sure the proper like processes are in place to like prevent fraud and to prevent abuse and to like ensure that like we are funding like good paying jobs and that sort of stuff. Now it's just how to get the money out as fast as possible before they come in and like stop.
Really?
Yeah.
You can do that?
Yeah. To an extent, just like within reason. Yeah.
So, he is happily admitting to improperly getting money out of the door with no checks and balances. I just want to remind everyone that this is your money that he is talking about frittering away, with no oversight, just because he does not like the politics of the president who the people of the United States elected. So typical of the left. They don't care about you, they never have. They care about themselves. They've thought about throwing your money overboard very carefully.
Getting it out as quick as possible.
Right. Yeah. The tune of $50 billion.
No, it's like $2 billion at this point. But yeah, we've got most of it, like 90% is out. But
wow. Yeah. And what happens if they try to stop it? They can?
When they come in, if you haven't gotten out the door, then they can stop it.
You got like 2 months. If they don't get it out by a certain date, what's that date?
It's the inauguration, the 20th. It's renewed on the 20th of January. Yeah.
You can work right down to the minute.
It's probably like a little after noon, but yeah, it's basically noon. Yeah.
Hey,
As you can see, they have planned very carefully about how to throw away as much of your money as that they have access to, all by the time of Trump's inauguration. These people should be tried and sentenced for deliberate misuse of taxpayers' money. He has already admitted that they are not undertaking the oversight and due diligence that they should. This is all because the EPA is so highly politicized. The EPA should be dissolved. Meanwhile, the MSNBC is back to their old tricks. But because their position is so powerless, they need to throw in apologies and explanations where they previously would not have.
A little bit earlier in this block, there was a comment made about Fox News in our coverage about Pete Hegseth and the growing number of allegations about his behavior over the years and possible addiction to alcohol or issues with alcohol. The comment was a little too flippant for this moment that we're in. We just want to make that comment as well. We want to make that clear. We have differences in coverage with Fox News, and that's a good debate that we should have often. But right now, I just want to say there's a lot of good people that work at Fox News who care about Pete Hegseth, and we'll want to leave it at that.
Morning Joe and crew were clearly happy enough with the content of what their guest had to say about Fox News at the time. But someone higher up rapidly forced the apology and explanation. They would not have done this previously. And in the meantime, the persecution of Pete Hegseth continues.
Specific allegations, but let me start with this. Do you think you're being Kavanaugh'd right now?
I had a member not 45 minutes ago look me in the eye in private, just he and I, and say, that's what they're trying to do to you. That's what they're trying to do to you. That's their playbook. Get ready for more. And they're going to make it up, just like they have so far. All anonymous, all innuendo, all rumor, nothing sourced, no verification, and they're just going to keep doing it because you're a threat to them. You're a threat to their system. You're a threat to all the things in Washington, D.C., the swamp, the things that people have rejected. You're a threat to that. And so they're coming after you. And I know that. He knows that. And when you stand firm on that, it's not difficult to just continue to fight. So, yeah, we saw what happened, but guess what happened? Kavanaugh stood up, and he fought, and he won. And hopefully Republicans have learned that lesson.
And Trump stood by him.
And Trump stood by him.
Hegseth sees that he is being treated like Brett Kavanaugh, all innuendo and none of it sourced. As I've said previously, this is because he is a threat to the swamp, to the status quo. This is something that is long overdue, which is why I believe Trump appointed him. I hope Trump continues standing behind Hegseth, as the swamp needs to be drained, and these people need to be shown that this sort of malicious behaviour will not be tolerated. It is time to drain the swamp. What are your thoughts on the EPA's behaviour to Trump's inauguration? Please let me know in the comments. Thank you very much for watching.